is going on, you dead set legends, and welcome to Ready Bang, the #1 arm wrestling show on the planet. I'm your host, the Aussie Arm Wrestler, and a quick flashback. Today was the day 5 years ago when I won the most coveted trophy in arm wrestling. Today was the actual day that I dominated just about everyone to win third. But more importantly, he might be your uncle, but apparently he's my daddy. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we welcome the King of Japan, my dad, Toddzilla.
Japan doesn't have kings; they have like emperors.
The emperor. Well, they have kings now.
Okay.
The King of Japan, the Emperor of Japan, the Prime Minister of Japan, whatever they have, the #1 spot in Japan, if it's a crown, if it's a robe, you're wearing it. Todd, as always, buddy, thank you for joining the show.
Always a pleasure. I love being here.
Oh, no, it's good fun. And in case you weren't sure, you know, Todd's head may be round, but he is a flat earther. So if anyone wants... No, if you watched our last show together, we went on and we had a bit of fun. But, mate, first of all, how's your hand? Because your match with Yoshi Kanai, we'll get into that round by round and shit. But holy, my hand was tired watching that match.
I was tired. That was a tiring, excruciating, exhausting match. It really was, and which is good. I learned something from it, because first I thought I had like world class endurance, and then when I came out tired, I go, oh, now I know what I can go work on. So now we're just going to tweak a few things. You know?
Oh, will we see you on a treadmill lately?
Not a treadmill, but you will see me on something that applies to arm wrestling. I'm not sure treadmills do. So.
Well, lucky for you, in that match, hand doesn't matter. So it was. I'll tell you what you can work on. Just, you know, it's one of the crucial things in arm wrestling. Just keep your elbow on the table. Like, I'm no arm wrestling coach.
Man, I was breeding elbow fouls. For fuck's sake, man. I got one and went over and like became asexual, bred itself. All of a sudden I got 4 or 5. And I'm in danger of losing the whole thing on elbow fouls. I never got pushed over, but I'm going, what the hell? So now I'm petrified. Now I'm scared to do anything. So I'm collecting elbow fouls all the way. That was just way too stressful. Yeah.
Mate, it was stressful for me. I reckon when I was doing my live commentary, I reckon we almost had matching haircuts because I was pulling my hair out. And I think during the match I was screaming, for fuck's sake, Todd, keep your elbow on the table. And you're doing the same thing. You know, you're doing what you do best. That's why you are the best. But I'm screaming on the table.
Well, normally I know when I'm in danger of elbow fouling. And to be honest, I know when I've elbow fouled, whether they called it or not. But at this match, they were calling elbow fouls, and I had no clue I was elbow fouling. Now, when I watched it later, it was true. But I had no self-awareness that I was elbow fouling. So I just froze. All of a sudden now I'm like looking at my elbow, because now it was a matter of, okay, don't lose. Don't elbow foul. So now I got to look at my own elbow. You know, somebody in the audience will scream foul, and I don't know if they were screaming at me or him, but I'm checking my own elbow fouls. You know, and to be honest, when you get famous, you get used to not having your fouls called all the time. So somebody's got to talk to these refs, you know, or American money isn't worth as much as yen, because, you know, they were like calling my fouls like way more than his. You know?
It was insane. And then at one stage, like, genuinely shitting myself for the elbow fouls. And then there was one where, once again, you're stuck in the middle. And I don't think people realize you never went to the B side. You're in control of the whole match. match and almost lost.
Yeah.
But there
No,
was one point where you just like looked at him, smiled, and then it was the first time in a while I saw you breathing heavy.
Yeah. The arm was pumped up. It was I was telling Susie, I go, I'm gonna lose this on fouls. I'm not getting pinned, right? I mean, every time we went past center, I could regain the winning side. And the irony was I had done a whole YouTube video analyzing Yoshi versus Ron Bath, and Ron Bath won that, but Ron Bath was one elbow foul away from losing his super match. And I'm one elbow foul away from losing my super match. Except Ron was getting pinned and beat up. I'm going, I felt like Bambi on ice, man. I was just skating around, you know. And what I needed was like a 30-minute break where I could just like chill out and just look at what was happening. Because when it was all said and done, I mean, the pressure of losing was huge. But like you said, I go, man, I'm not getting pinned. My power was there, but I couldn't pin him for the life of me. We would go and I've pulled pretty good Kings movers. I mean, I've probably pulled some of the best Kings movers in the world, and I've never gotten to the point where they just never just faded and gave up, you know? So towards the end, I'm just going to tell you, desperate. I mean, when they started calling, this is weird. This is a really weird arm wrestling rule. If my elbow comes off the back of the pad, they give the foul to the other guy. Okay? So when Yoshi's elbow went off the back of the pad, they would give me the foul. Well, which is odd, but I got to the point where I either got to pin him or he just got an elbow foul. So I was just slamming into him, you know? And I'm just saying, look, he's either going to pin or he's going to foul. He's going to pin or he's going to foul. But I didn't know. I was just desperate, you know. If I could go back like today and pull that exact match, I would do things desperate. I would grind it out. But of course, that match will never happen again because we both got smart. We sat in the bar. This was funny. He afterward, because I don't stick around and watch the rest of the event. I don't know if you know this about me. I got stuff to do. You know?
The Jordan Sonic moment will be my favorite ever.
Yeah.
Like when by the time they scanned to you, your bag was on your back and you were gone.
But his whole posse, like I was in the bar, I'm with Susie, and I did the aftermatch, and I was just talking. I go, man, I was like one foul away from losing a super match where I never got pinned. I mean, that's just weird. And all his Japanese people started showing up one by one, you know. And then finally he came down, and we said he bought a bunch of rounds. I love that man. I'm just telling you, man. I love that guy. And we talked and we went back and forth, and we were both light in that class. I mean, we could both of us should have been in the 95 class, the 95 kilogram class. Wow, I switched topics 5 times. Now I forgot what point.
That's all. Well,
I'll come back to it.
Yeah, we'll quickly say hi to everyone. Everyone's dying to say good day to you, Todd. And speak, Waff Cake says Uncle Toddzilla Hutchings in there. He says there's that Uncle Zilla. We love some Phil Woody. Cole is in the chat. Says Uncle Todd. Dan Plexman with a ready bang. Constipated Devon with a hello. Uncle Todd. Mark KDX Rider says no chance for Eddie Hall. Ready bang. All hail the Emperor. Zacy says, I thought nothing could make my day better. I was wrong. That's right. When you get Toddzilla on a show, very rare interview with Todd, unless you're paying him to come on the show, which I don't. He doesn't do many of these, so we'll be very, very...
Pretty much you and the promoters, and my promoters are Engen. So you and Engen are pretty much 100% of my podcast. I'm considering doing one for some guys in Michigan, and I got asked for another real small following to come on to, but generally I just turn down podcast requests. Yeah.
It's hilarious. If you're new to the show, I'll tell you quick. Toddzilla made me struck gold many years ago, and it's something I'll never forget. It was the whole Lachlan Adair thing. If you're new to it, it was hilarious. I asked Todd to come on the show during during the lockdowns. Yes, because
Yeah,
I had
during
no
COVID
hair
because
and
we couldn't do it in America or Australia, so we wanted to go to Dubai, and I didn't know Larry Wheels at the time. I go, that to me felt like either a scam or a trap, so I wasn't fucking going to no Muslim country.
And now look at it. It's gone nuts.
Yeah.
Brad Butler's in the house. Awesome. Jake and Todd live. I'm Indian Arm Wrestler. Hi, Aussie and Toddzilla. And the rest of the chat. Uncle Todd will be the Stairmaster. Going back to this, how far behind I am. Going back to your new cardio. Oh my God, it's the greatest singer-songwriter in arm wrestling history. My man Phil said it was good seeing Uncle Todd again at East versus West 15. It was a brilliant match and a win for Team West. Toddzilla on America's Got Talent is a sure golden buzzer. There you go. That would be brilliant. Ogishai says Todd is a legend. Toddzilla is love, says Arm Wrestling Fan. What else have we got? Just quickly. Street level arm wrestling. Beautiful. All righty. So then it's really weird because like all the matches get announced for East versus West, but your matches seem to just kind of fly under the radar. Like, when did you know you were pulling Yoshi?
I knew it before it was announced, and I actually leaked it before it was announced. It was first East versus West is hands down the absolute best league I've ever been involved in. Now, I haven't been involved in as many as John or Ron Bath, but I've been involved in a lot. And usually 3 or 4 years, they collapse. East versus West has done something that millionaires and billionaires couldn't do, and it just keeps getting better. And it's kind of changing and morphing as we go along, but there's not a lot of real set in stone like rules that I need to follow by. So like when I learn of my match, I assume I can just go out and talk about it. But evidently there's marketing aspects of it. And to be honest, maybe I was told all this and I wasn't paying attention. So I mean, but also I don't worry too much. A lot of times, what I will know months in advance if I'm going to be in an event. The actual opponent can sometimes change, and that's probably where I sometimes get in trouble, because some events the opponent changes once or twice from the time I know I'm going to and I'm a guy that likes, as an engineer, I don't like surprises. I like preparation. I like boring results. I like shit to be going, it's going to happen this way, and then it happens that way. And then if it's a few % difference, I want to like obsess about why it was like 2% different than what I thought. So, but part of our obligation in East versus West is to promote it. So, it's easy to go out and make videos and promote stuff if you have like no rules.
Yeah.
But as soon as somebody says, okay, say something funny, I got nothing.
That's right.
So I can't do shit, So as soon as I learn, so now I'm like writing down, okay, if I'm going to be spontaneous, I'm going to do this, and this, which is like.
But where did you leak it? Where did you leak the match?
Yeah. So
where was it on one of your videos or?
Say again.
Where did you leak the match with you and Yoshi? Where did you accidentally?
I leaked it when I started. It was through Facebook.
Yeah.
I made comments and stuff on Facebook. My Facebook is really nothing more than my arm wrestling career, right? It's not. I don't want to put a lot of family stuff on. I put some stuff on my fiance on there, but other than my fiance, it's all arm wrestling. And so I did some. I think I forgot what I did. I think I posted like a picture of him or something like that on my Facebook, and then it wasn't officially announced, so I took it back down. But
oh, fun.
but but once I know the opponent and stuff, then I go through, like, there's going to be a song, there's going to be an analysis video, there's going to be that normal trash talking type stuff. But I knew it was going to be him a month or two, probably 2 months before the match. Which is usually, Engen's pretty cool about that. Engen will usually give you at least a month, if not 2 months notice who you're pulling.
Okay. But did you know he was going to be so strong? Like, when that match was announced, I was like, amazing, another legend back. I love Yoshi, brilliant. And then I thought you were just going to wipe the floor with him, I'll be honest.
Yeah. I had no idea. I had an opportunity. Neil Pickup was talking about in Arm Wars, setting me up with Yoshi back when he was super heavyweight and dominating everything. And Neil Pickup's one of these guys who really loves me, and he like really overestimates what I can do versus what I can actually do, But when it was him, when it was announced, when I started researching him, I really didn't know what to expect. So I watched all his videos and I go, okay, well, like I watched the video of the Ron Bath. I go, I think I can deal with that. And I watched his videos with John and I go, I'm not so sure I can deal with that. But, I kind of put a game plan together. And I wasn't expecting. I need to do a whole King's Move video. As somebody who doesn't do a King's Move, but as somebody who's pulled some of the better King's moves in the world, his King's move, right, bam, he hit it, and I go, okay, I'm fine, right? And I can wait it out, because a lot of King's movers, the King's move is meant to drain when you're on a King's move, you're in the losing position. So a King's move is designed to drain the offensive player, right? Well, if you're the offensive player and you know that, then you just sit there, right? You slowly move them to center and stuff, and you drain it. But every time I would surge, his King's move would go a little more pronating, And it was like, all of a sudden now I'm pressing, which I don't press.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I can think about it slowly now, but at the time, it's like, this is all my money, and I got these people looking, and I was going, it was really frustrating trying to figure this shit out. And you don't have the benefit of the cameras watching it. So all I can go by is what I'm looking at. I can't, my perspective. So, so like I said, in the end, I was either going to pin him or foul him. I was going to knock his elbow off the pad, or I was going to foul him. And I had to knock his elbow off the pad in such a fashion that the refs wouldn't blame it on me.
Yeah.
So I had, you know what I mean? So all of a sudden now I'm arm wrestling 3 people.
Well, one of your pins looked like you were almost throwing your toys out the cock, because you were saying that you had to like kind of press, and it just almost looked like you were annoyed, so you just threw his hand. It almost looked like a mini baseball pitch, because you just came over and he's like, oh my God, just pin him, and threw it. And then they're like, yeah. Pin.
Well, what he did was, at that time, his King's move is of course, King's moves are crazy back pressure. Okay. In my analysis of him, he would hit that King's move, and then he would work his shoulder in. He would take that King's move from here, roll his hand like that, get his shoulder behind, and then he could press from inches above his own pad all the way over. And he beat some very good people like that. My whole concentration, my whole focus was to prevent him from getting that shoulder in. So I'm just trying to prevent him from pressing me over. I figured I'd just wear the King's move out and pin him. I didn't, so I was just worried about him getting offensive. And then when he tried to press me a couple of times and couldn't, I wasn't smart enough to realize he tried to press me and he couldn't. So I never changed my game plan. But
I don't think you've changed your game plan for 10 years.
I'm on handfuls of caffeine. I'm on like gallons of adrenaline, and I've been hyped up on this thing for like weeks now. So like, and your vision like is like tunnel vision.
Oh, cool. Of course.
Yeah, I just needed somebody to like talk some sense into me, But it was because when I go back, I go, you know what? Every time we came back up, I could just take him back down. I mean, that was the time to press me when I was up here elbow falling, regripping, and he could, But
look, next match, just have me on speaker. So give your lovely fiance your phone, have me on speaker, and I'll talk some sense into you. First thing I would do is get bigger water bottles, because it's hilarious watching you big muscly blokes go through an absolute battle, and then you pick up this bottle that doesn't fit in your palm. It looks like the famous Andre the Giant holding a can, a beer can, and it's just like, you've got to sip this little bottle. I'm like, these guys are like, where's your big giant water bottles? It's hilarious.
And I'm not even one of the bigger guys anymore, but and after you've arm wrestled, I can't hardly work it anyways. But
all right, we got some legends in the chat at the moment. JH Pipe Fitting has been a member for 2.5 years. Says really enjoy the Toddzilla YouTube channel, mate. You are like the rest of us. We love it. Ricky Wiggly saying ready bang. Yeah, Toddzilla in the house. Richard Jennings taking about. He says good evening, everyone. Brad Butler thinks that we get along pretty well. Brad's on the money there. Luckadoo says Toddzilla needs to bring back the stash. The old days, mate. When will we get there? Will we ever get it back? It was awesome.
The mustache you're remembering was red. All right. There ain't shit on my body that's red anymore, except my face. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do a nostalgia tour. I mean, that's something that bands in America do. Bands that were popular in the 80s are now doing a nostalgia tour. So, like, yeah, in the 2030s, I'll come back with a mustache.
Yes, there we go. It's official. That's one announcement that we can get in there. So then, of course, mustache and all, the I think it's February, the next East versus West.
Yep.
And that's going to be in the United States.
I don't know. I think
okay.
so. I don't know. I myself, I don't know. Because what I understand is because of geopolitical stuff, some countries, athletes from certain countries have a hard time traveling in the United States. And it might be the same for Americans going someplace. Like, I don't know if I could get a visa to go to Russia or Ukraine. I don't know, but like some of the countries I understand have a hard time getting visas into America. So I don't know where the next East versus West is. I myself haven't been told. I will be in it, but I don't know where it's going to be.
So then where does your focus go? Because you pulled in the 105 kilo category, and you used to be the 105 kilo champ, but you only weighed 96, 97 kilos with your match with Yoshi. So you got to go to the 95s or stay in the 105 kilo?
What I told Engen is I wanted to pull the 105s all of 2024, and I did. I would consider 95s in 2025 and 2026, and Engen's nice enough, and he'll understand this, but I still have unfinished business at 105, but I am willing to go down to the 95s and party with those boys. So,
well, where do you feel more comfortable, 105 or 95?
My natural weight is closer to 95. I really don't think the adjacent weight classes make that big of a difference. But to be honest, I think the 105 class is probably the hardest class for depth. And you got to, you just, you know, you just want to, you want to be the biggest fish in the biggest pond. You know,
Yeah.
you don't want to be the biggest fish in a little pond, you know. But it's arm wrestling, and the fact is, a lot of the guys in the 95 would still be top 5 in the 105s and vice versa. So, you know, the whole 95 105, there's not that much difference between the caliber. What the biggest difference is height. You know,
Yeah.
the 95 class has shorter people, and the 105 class has taller people. Power, strength, technique. You know, it's just as hard to win either one of them. I just think that I think in the 95 class, I think you got 5 super solid like killers.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and I think at 105 you might have 7. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I just think, I mean, now that Devin at 105, I think the 105 class, other than the super heavyweights, has got to be the hardest one because Devin's what, the second or the third best puller in the world. So if Devin's at 105, 105's like the second hardest class ever. But as far as depth,
Yeah.
you know, the 105 class is harder than the super heavyweight class because the talent in the 105 class drags out almost to the top 8, top 9, where in the super heavyweight, by the time you get to the top 10, the talent drops off relative to number 1, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying the top 5, the number 5 guy at super heavyweight is probably better than the number 5 guy at 105. I'm just saying if you're super heavyweight, here's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At 105, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know?
Yeah. Nice. So then this unfinished business at 105, is this Devin? Is this David Khan? Is it someone else?
I don't, you know, I would just like, I loved being the 105 champ, and I want to be the 105 champ again.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
It's not an individual because Dadakin and Oleg and Devin. They're the 3 folks above me, and one beat me, 2 beat me, and 1 I've never met. But they're completely different people. I mean, you got to pull completely differently to beat those 3. But to be honest, the top 3 or 4 in the 95, it's Irakli, Sasho, Rustam, who I've never beat, and Paul Lynn and stuff. So both classes are just extremely tough. What a glorious time to be a freaking arm wrestler, and what a glorious time to be Uncle Todd when you're on a fence of the 2 greatest weight classes that have ever happened. You know, I mean, I'm in weight classes that made Johnny Walker and John Brzezinski famous. You know, and I'm still like competitive at the world level of it. It's so awesome to be here. You know?
Is it amazing? Do you feel amazing or do you feel frustrated because the king of the 95s is Irakli, and now everyone's like, oh, you have to challenge Irakli to be the champ, and you're like, well, I was Irakli's last loss, so are you like frustrated that the king of the 95s, you're his last loss, or you're like, well, I was the guy that motivated him to become a beast?
Well, Irakli became champ by beating Rustam Babayev, who beat me like 100 motherfucking times. You know? So, all right, Irakli beat a guy I can't touch. I've never won a round on Rustam. So,
wow,
you know, it's not. I'm telling you, if victory is more important than excellence, you're going to be a frustrated, despondent, depressed little person, man. You gotta face life seeking excellence, you know. So you just gotta let that go by. Losses are learning experiences, man. Losses shouldn't be a big deal. And I might, you know, Rustam Babayev, might be the algorithm that beats me my whole life.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, okay. So I didn't know that interesting stat about you that you'd never got around on Rustam. Okay. Maybe we'll see that one in the future. I like it. I like
Engen sets up matches that people want to see.
Well, speaking of Rustam, you've been every time we've caught up, you've brought an engineer's perspective into your arm wrestling predictions. So King of the Tables this weekend, which astounds me because I think we speak about it every time we catch up. You say, I think I'm paraphrasing. You always say you're not bothered, but you always like to be invited to the party.
Yes.
Why are you never invited to King of the Table?
I was invited once. I was invited to King of the Table to pull Angerbayev as a rematch.
Okay? Oh yeah.
But I had a tragedy in my family and I had to cancel out. And then since then, I mean, I pulled 4 East versus West last year or in 2024. So yes. I'm arm wrestling a lot anyways, you know.
Yeah, considering you used to only pull in seasons.
Yeah.
You used to always have time off.
I mean, and I think Engen will keep me hopping this year. So you know, yeah. I'm not averse to King of the Table. I'm great. I was invited once. It was a shame it didn't work out. It was on my fault. I turned it down. But you know, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, you. Well, what do you think of Rustam's match with Sandris?
I think Rustam will win. I mean, it was impressive to see Sandris top roll chant Shaw, but I do not think Sandris is the top roller Irakli is. And I think Rustam is the power-based arm wrestler that just makes men cool. So I'm going to vote for Rustam. I think Rustam wins. I think Rustam has a harder go at it because top rolling is better than hooking. But Rustam was able to hook Irakli once and negate the top roll and beat him with side pressure once. So, I mean, Rustam, when it comes to hooking, Rustam's about as good as you can get. I don't know if there's anybody out there. I don't know if there's anybody out there pulling inside as good as he can. I'm worried about the height difference.
Okay.
But and I've never met Sandris, but watching Sandris's matches, watching Sandris's match with Chance and Lachlan, he's impressive. He is. And I have a hard time with these predictions. And my predictions ain't worth any more than that guy like holding a sign outside Walmart asking for money. All right. I'm telling you, I think I do about
the arrow.
But you know, and if you beat me, I root for you. Okay. Yeah. Because that means I'm better than what I thought I was. And if I beat you, I root for you because that makes me better. All right? Sandris hasn't beaten me and he hasn't lost to me, so I'm not voting for him.
Well, you are the man that made Irakli a monster, so that theory works well. What about two of your North American buddies that you've had plenty of fun with, Matt Mask and Marcio?
That's a tough one, and they had to have pulled each other in WAO because they're in the same weight class both times.
Yeah.
I think Marcio's going to be the favorite. Matt Mask has been on a tear lately, and he's really, really good. But Matt Mask is just very one-dimensional. Marcio will jump into a hook. Marcio will top roll. Marcio will press. I think Marcio should be the favorite. It wouldn't surprise me if either one of these guys went 3-0. It would. I mean, you know, I think they're that close. The problem is I think it's a 40-40 match, and the reffing is 20%. Okay. You
Ah.
know, I think they are so close that the reffing could affect. For one thing, Marcio is an elbow foul generating machine. If you think I was generating fouls during Yoshi, man, Marcio's generating elbow fouls during weigh-ins. Okay, I mean, he can't get on a scale without his elbow leaving the pad, and that's going to that will probably elbow fouls will cost Marcio probably at least one match, and you can't afford to give up even a match. You know, at this caliber, when arm wrestlers are training this hard. I mean, the WAL was the best thing happening at the time. We all now know East vs. West is way better than the WL ever was. So everybody is tuned. They're ready. The athletes are spot on. We're performing better than we ever done. I mean, the level of arm wrestling has increased significantly just from WAL. You cannot afford to make mistakes, you know, and Marcio, he's got the power and he's got the speed, but man, that boy elbow. I mean, people like me who was one elbow foul away from losing are going, that Brazilian elbow fouls a lot.
Yeah. Oh man, have you been catching up on the all the Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall stuff? Have you seen much of that? The two guys are now getting right into it.
I haven't watched a lot of the videos. I have talked to Brian Shaw through text messages. I've watched a lot of Brian Shaw stuff. I watched a video recently with Neil Pickup coaching Eddie Hall. So it's interesting that Devin's coaching Brian and Neil's coaching Eddie, you know, because that's an interesting dynamic because you got two talented athletes. One's being coached by probably a coach and one's being coached by an athlete. And a lot of times, if you're a superstar athlete, like, I don't know any famous athletes in Australia, but like Michael Jordan or Mike Tyson or somebody, I'm not so sure Mike Tyson would be a good boxing coach because his natural ability skews his perspective. You know what I mean? Like Mike Tyson would just say, hit him harder, you know?
Yeah.
And the student would go, if I could hit him harder, I would be Mike Tyson, you know? Or Michael Jordan would say, like, jump higher, you know?
Yeah.
And the other guy said, well, if I could fucking jump higher, you know, I would have my own shoe brand, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it'll be interesting to see that. But I think I mean, obviously, Brian Shaw's from America, and he's a hero of mine. I watched a lot of his videos. Is eating 10,000 calories a day when he's a strong man. I followed him quite a bit, you know, about 7-8 years ago. I just think he's got way too many advantages. He's too damn tall. He's got too much reach. If he would just stop standing square to the table and put his shoulder in, like I think Brian Shaw can probably do anything and beat Eddie Hall. I just think Eddie Hall's too short for this type of match myself. For the match against Brian Shaw. I just don't think he's not going to pull out some ref grip slip side pressure press movement on Brian Shaw.
It'd be hard to. He's a big bastard, that's for sure.
He's strong. I just don't. I think Brian Shaw, if he would stop crinkling his fingers and just clamp down, I just think I think he could just he could do to Eddie what Devin did to Michael Todd and Jerry Caderet. Just close them down at center, just with his hand pressure, you know.
I love it. I better get this comment on the screen before his head blows up. No need to yell at us, Cole. No need to yell. It's okay. We're all friends. No, Cole's amazing. He says, I love you, Todd. You dramatically increase the quality of my life with your side pressure. God created his mightiest warrior when he made you. I love you, Todd.
Oh, thank you. I love that.
Didn't need to yell that, Cole, but that's okay. Solid Thor Poker says, hey, Uncle Ton. Big fan here. Big fan here. Yeah, some people are agreeing with you. Brian is the favourite. It would be incredibly hard for the strongmen to not want to grip the shit out of their opponent. Which is, yeah, Darren says Toddzilla. It's all happening. No, I think it'll be a fun match. I love the banter between the two coaches. I don't know who I'd rather be coached with. I would probably lean towards Devon. I think he's saying enough, but I do understand your point. Like, I played a lot of team sports growing up, and the best player necessarily doesn't make a good captain.
No.
Or transition to a good coach. So I understand what you're saying.
I think Neil Pickup is an excellent coach. I think Eddie Hall's got an excellent coach. I also think Neil understands Brian's advantages. Okay. So I think Neil is probably coaching Eddie, to thwart that taller stuff. But like the commenter said, a strong man's going to grip the shit out of their opponent. Well, and beginners do that all the time. I have a really hard time coaching beginners when a beginner's on the winning side. So when I'm losing, the beginner is still squeezing the shit out of my hand. And I'm saying, dude, you're just blowing up your own forearm, relax a little, It's really hard. And these guys have crazy grip strength. So their natural instincts are going to overwhelm. They're just going to try to crush somebody's hand, and it's going to be hard. But to be honest, I don't think either one of these guys could beat our current 105 champion. And they're both, 400 pounds is what, 200 kilograms or something.
Yeah.
So neither one of these guys could beat our current 105 guy. I don't think either one of these guys could beat I think Iraqli would beat both of these guys. So it's a really interesting match, and there's a lot of potential there, but let's get real. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you were there, going back to East versus West, and guys, I'll get to some of your comments in just a moment. You were in the room when Krill said that he beat everyone in the room. When Krill said he would beat like every strong man, Krill wasn't saying he was going to beat he said Devin 2 years off number one.
David Samusha will run through the world's strongest man arm wrestling competition. Okay. And those guys, those world's strongest man, have to pick up a dumbbell that weighs 300 pounds and put it over their head for reps, right? Well, David weighs 180, so they can pick up two Davids and put them over their head, and David's going to beat all these guys arm wrestling. Okay. So.
Well, speaking of him, would you get down to 85 and pull him?
I would love to pull him, but no, I will not get down to that. What is 85? 160 plus 10 is 170 plus 185. No, that would it would take me months. It would take me months to get down to that low.
Yeah, 187 pounds.
Yeah. And nah. But I mean, I would love to practice with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To pull him, that is such a commitment, because I have unfinished 105 business, and for me to go that far, you know what? For me to go that far down the highway, I'm never going to come back to my 105 exit. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love it.
I like him winning 1,000 world title defense championships in a row. I mean, he should have he should be carried out on his own throne, set on the stage, and then he's the only person that can sit on it, because he might be the greatest amongst us right now.
He's absolutely phenomenal, that's for sure. Right, a few comments. We've got Cole Gray still yelling. Says, don't need to yell it. Give me a mountain. Let me scream so the whole world can know God's mightiest warrior. Todd fucking Hutchings. My man Justin King in the chat says, great to see you two. I always bet on my fellow Ohioan when Todd is on the card. Brad Butler's like, hey, I love Toddzilla too. There's a bit of jealousy going on. Roy agrees with you, says, of course, Arakli would beat them, the strong men, which is good. Everyone wants you to go down to 85 kilos. Robbie says Todd at 85 kilos could be cool. It'd be great. Guys, we've only got about 5 or 10 minutes in left. Get your questions firing through. Let's get to the main event before we get to some fan Q&A. Jerry Carteret, Levan, it's huge. A part of me, I'm like you, Todd, a part of me loves seeing legacy and when the champions continue to be champions and continue on winning. But I also love to see a champion dethroned. So
Jerry wins.
How do you see that match?
I see Jerry winning.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Now, Levan's good. You don't top roll a press. So Jerry's going to press. And Jerry's really slick, and he can press or he can shoulder roll at the last minute without changing his setup. So he's got the ultimate in outside, inside. He's like the perfect transgender arm wrestler. He can go outside or inside, with no warning. Levan is obviously crazy strong. And I love that. I love Levan, right? I love how he kind of gets this sloppy side pressure thing going, because all the coolest arm wrestlers like Levan and Gabby arm wrestle that way. They're like the greatest arm wrestlers ever. But if you do any sort of outside move on a presser's going to push you off the table. So you get into elbow foul trouble if you try to top roll a presser. So you have to be deeply committed to come inside on the press. So I think Jerry wins that. I think Levan's cardio and endurance is suspect based on his Hermes match. All right. Well, Jerry's going to put Levan under a lot more stress than what Hermes did because Hermes was top rolling him. Now, if Levan is like Thor's and Spider-Man and Cicely Tyson all combined and shuts it down at the front end, that's a bad day for Jerry, right? So if Levan's quick enough to stop Jerry from getting here, that goes bad. But I think all in all, it's a title match. It's best of 7. They're going to, oh my God, I shuddered. I can't even, the video of these 7 matches is going to take an hour long, right?
Yeah.
They're going to argue about the rest script. They're going to argue. They're going to argue. They're going to argue. They're going to be a rest script. They're going to argue. They're going to argue. They're going to walk away. They're going to argue. They're going to argue. Then they're going to slip. And they're going to go argue and argue. And they're going to I mean, oh my God, just that is going to put me to sleep,
Yeah.
But I think if it was those two guys, like in my garage with nobody else, I think Levan's probably a 70-30 favorite over Jerry. I think at East versus West, especially if they hold it in America, I think Jerry's a 70-30 favorite over Levan.
Wow, so this weekend, because it's in Atlantic City, so you got to give the favorite to Jerry.
I think Jerry's going to win.
Wow, huge, love it, mate. That's why we get you on there. And everyone, let's get some of the comments, and then we'll have to wrap up the show. Run, loved it. Transgender arm wrestler. Jerry is a they them. Murphy found it funny, which is good. I love AOC with a super chat. Says Devin would crush you, yeah?
No.
At 105.
Devin, well, what does crush mean?
Yeah, there you go. AOC, he would like you to elaborate, please.
No, nobody at 105 is crushing me. I mean, I might lose 4-0, Is that what crushing means? Because I don't know.
Yeah. No, it'll be a fight. Arm wrestling fan, I am agreeing with Toddzilla. Everyone's agreeing. Zacey says Levan said he'll hook as he's been training his side pressure and biceps for that.
Side pressure doesn't come from biceps, so I don't know what he was saying.
There you go. Wow, super bold prediction. Levan is fast for his size. I think that's the key.
Levan is incredibly fast for his size.
It's gonna be brilliant. Everyone's there. So, any final questions for Todd? One from Cole. Question for Toddzilla: what's your favorite movie? And if you're going to give a young man a motto for conquering life, what would it be?
What's my favorite movie? And what's the second question?
If you're going to give a young man advice or a motto for conquering life, what would it be?
My favorite movie is The Outlaw Josie Wales. And for conquering life, you got two mottos. You either seek excellence over victory or weak things break. Adopt both of them.
There you go. It is happening. We got one here from Roy. Excuse me, Todd. Who do you think is the next upcoming potential North American superstar?
Let's see. Superstar. I mean, we got a lot of North Americans banging right now. Kevin Palco's coming up. He's one of our lighter guys. He's doing really well. Adam Wawrinski came into the East vs. West and then came back out. He's still got potential. Actually, South Carolina's got several guys. That Hunter Knopf's guy was really good.
Yeah.
North American. Let's see. I don't know a lot of the up and coming Canadians because there's a lot of them. Michael Todd, I think, is training this kid called Jeremy Parker, but I don't know him. But Kevin Palco, I do work with him. He's going to break out here pretty quick. It's tough for the lightweight guys because the depth in the lighter weight classes is so deep, My rule of thumb is when you what I tell beginning arm wrestlers, if you're just starting out, it takes about 3 or 4 years to become a national level arm wrestler. If you're like 220 pounds or heavier, it takes 4 to 6 pounds to be a national level arm wrestler if you're under 200 pounds, just because the weight classes are so much tougher. So I would, Kevin Palco. Oh, and the guy Kevin's pulling at King of the Table, this Moranto. I don't know Joseph. All right.
Yeah, I met him in Arizona. He's a pretty strong dude.
He's a pretty strong dude. I saw him beat Larry Wheels once in a practice match. John Brezink sings his praises, and John knows better than all of us. So one of those two guys, I think, is probably going to be one of our top 176 pounders here in about 5 years.
There you go. Can you say hello to Mihai from Romania?
Hello, Mihai from Romania. When in Rome, do as the Romanians do.
Oh, brilliant. All right, guys. We will wrap it up. You are there with the one and only, the Emperor, the King, my dad. He is Toddzilla. If you can, guys, hit the like button. Buy the King of the Table pay-per-view because this man predicts that Jerry Caderet will win this weekend at Atlantic City. Buy the pay-per-view. 5 and a bit days to go. If he's got it, it is going to happen. Can you all please thank the one and only Toddzilla for joining the show? Todd, always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.